Welcome. Today we're going to continue my series on the Science of Mind core concepts. And today we're going to talk about core concept number 10, divine nature. A lot of times we talk about this as Christ consciousness. I'm talking about it as our divine nature. The consciousness of Christ, the consciousness of Buddha, the consciousness of Krishna. It's a consciousness of oneness, which is a consciousness of the divine nature. So just so that you remember, core concepts are the basic theories of how the universe works. And everything started with core concept number 1, which was the concept of oneness. In other words, there is an infinite. And so if there is an infinite, then we are aspects of that infinite. It created us out of it, and we're always a part of it. So each human being partakes of the divine nature, the nature that is our true nature, to the degree that this nature is recognized and realized through him or her. In other words, our divine nature, our divine connection is always there. It can't be gotten rid of. It's the essence of all that we are. But we, in our human form, with our human body and with our human ego, we forget about this underlying infinite divine nature that we are. And we can only experience it to the degree that we recognize it within ourselves and we recognize it within others. If we realize that within us, the divine presence, the perfect person, the image of spirit, if we recognize it, then at that point of realization, we are revealing the divine nature, the pattern that connects all life eternally. What a beautiful concept to realize that there is a perfect person, a perfect image of spirits, a perfect divine presence, right where we are all the time. And yet what happens here? Our ego judges us and says, no, you're not perfect. You need to be like this. You need to be like that. You need to fit in. The fact of the matter is, spirit, the infinite, only creates one of everything. Why would it ever duplicate anything? So the fact of the matter is that you, me, and everybody else, we're all unique. We're individualized expressions of the one. And as individualized, unique expressions of the one, we are the divine presence. We are the perfect person. We are the perfect image of spirit. And there's nothing we need to change. And as we go through life individualized, unique, we're revealing our divine nature. And it's in the attitude, knowing that we are one, that we live in this body that is our unique temple. We live in our personality. And we're so confident, so knowing. And it's not an ego confident. It's not a boasting confident. It's an inner knowingness. And when you have that inner knowingness, people know that. They want to be around you because you are the light. Your divine nature can be experienced and realized through a dedicated daily meditation practice. This for me is the number one way that we reveal our divine nature to ourselves. This is when we can go within and become the observer. We observe what are the sensations in our body. We observe what are the thoughts that are moving through our body. And as we observe them, we let them flow, move in, move out with no attachment. And that's when we realize how the divine sees everything. It observes, sees everything from every perspective with no attachment whatsoever to it being one way or the other, because it's all part of it. It's all part of the divine. Our experience is all part of us. To deny part of it is to deny ourselves. It's to realize or to attempt to believe that we're not everything, that we're not infinite. And that takes us further away from our divine nature. Here's the next thing. Our divine nature can only be experienced when we live in the now. It's not in the past. and it's not in the future. It's, am I being fully present in this moment, speaking with you with the intention and clarity about exploring divine nature from the very core of all that I am? Am I right here with you now, or am I worrying about, well, what am I going to say next week? Doesn't matter. What did I say last week? Doesn't matter. What am I saying to you right now, and am I fully present with it? That's true in everything we do. For example, if you're cooking, I can tell you a little later today, I'm going to be making a homemade pizza with my Italian dough, my San Marzano tomatoes, my mozzarella cheese, my fresh basil, olive oil, and Parmesan Reggiano cheese. And I'm going to be doing it in my outdoor pizza oven. When I am cooking that pizza, when I'm preparing that pizza, I'm in the moment right with that pizza. I'm not worrying about anything else. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen later. I'm in cooking. I'm doing that. Same thing when working out. When you're working out, be in the workout. Don't be somewhere else. Divine nature is only present now. That's where the divine lives. In the divine, there's only one clock, and the clock says now. So emulate that in your life to connect with that divine nature by being fully present. Do you know when you're fully present, you can't worry? It's impossible to worry when you're fully present in this moment, because to worry means you have to take your mind off what you're doing now and put it on something that might happen in the future. So the divine nature that we are is only present in the now. Our divine nature is also realized and experienced in moments when you are expressing pure love for someone, something, for life itself, and expressing self-love. Because what is pure love? It's total acceptance. It means that I look at myself and I accept myself just as I am. When I look at you, I accept you just like you are. Everything. When I look at my life, I accept life just like it is. In the contrast that's going on in the world right now with the political events happening in Ukraine and Russia, between those two, and then all the other countries in the world, and with the whole idea of COVID, what we believe is winding down. Can you see that the world is balanced? It's always balanced. Can you not get attached to being right and say this one's wrong, that one's right? Can you possibly become the observer and wonder, I wonder why they're feeling that way. And then I wonder why they're feeling that way. And where's the balance in it? Because no one is ever totally right and someone else totally wrong. And the best example I can do with that is talk about a marriage. And a marriage that goes and gets into trouble. Trouble meaning that they're no longer going to stay married, so they go through a divorce. And they're pointing fingers at each other. You were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong. The divine nature that we are knows that no one was wrong. We just weren't a vibrational match. That's the human match. The divine match is still there, because at the core of all we are, we're pure love. We've just forgotten to see it that way. And it's real interesting when you become the observer, and that's where your divine nature is when you're the observer. You see things from a complete 360-degree perspective in 3D. You see it from every angle possible. That's how the divine sees everything. You see, your divine nature is the foundation of everything you are. And your job is to simply remember this as you experienced a life that is centered in duality. See, in human form, duality must exist for us to experience. But we have been given the gift to be able to use our senses and our minds to experience life, to become more aware and to know the infiniteness of our divine nature. I believe that the unfolding of this realization of our truth, that we are divine, is a journey that we take forever and ever. I think it's an eternal journey that never stops. And I think that within us is a DNA, a spiritual DNA, to become more, to see more, to become more aware, to create more. And when we're doing that, life has got juice. It's when we're not growing. It's when we're seeing a one-sided life. When we're not connected and tapped into our divine nature. When we can't withdraw and become the observer and see the truth about what's happening around us, that we truly struggle. And we have all these issues that we're dealing with. And we get wrapped up in the human condition and the human problem and human nature and ego nature. Nothing wrong with human nature. Nothing wrong with ego nature. It's just to remember that at the core of all that we are, we have a divine nature. It is the foundation. It is our truth. Anything other than that is something we create through how we focus. So I'm going to ask you to read with me this belief statement and see if the words resonate with you. I never ask you to believe what I say. I ask you to think about it, test it, and prove it for yourself. Because you're the only person that matters in your life. What you think is the single most important thing that determines your life. Not what I think, not what your spouse thinks, not what your parents think, not what your kids think. What do you think? That's the key in this. So with me, let's do this we believe statement. I believe in the direct revelation of truth through my intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. That means take time every day to meditate. Take time every day to be in the now. Take time every day to just be you and not judge. To look in the mirror, to look in your eyes and say, I fully accept you just like you are. And I'm so grateful that we, you, me, get to experience life the way and only way and unique way that we can. Don't let anyone tell you anything any different. You are already perfect. Your life can be anything you want it to be because there is a divine power, a divine nature that is the core of all that you are. And remember, it's the core of everyone else as well. Ponder that, meditate on that, reflect on that, and your life will transform. Create a great week.